In the gilded halls of the world's finest opera houses, one name rang out louder than most: Alberto Vilar. To the elite world of classical music, Vilar was more than a patron, he was a messiah. From New York's Metropolitan Opera to London's Royal Opera House, Vilar's name adorned seats, stages and wings. He gave away millions, promising to elevate the arts to new heights, but the applause masked a dark truth: the money wasn't really his to give. Born in 1940 in Cuba and raised in the United States, Alberto Vilar graduated from Washington and Jefferson College and earned an MBA from the University of Pennsylvania's Wharton School. In the 1980s, he co-founded Amerindo Investment Advisors with Gary Tanaka, managing portfolios for high-net-worth clients with a focus on tech and biotech stocks. During the 1990s dot-com boom, Amerindo soared. By the late 90s, Vilar's paper wealth exceeded $1 billion, and he began living like it. He was known for his lavish tastes, private jets, luxury homes, and most famously, grand philanthropic gestures. Vilar pledged over $250 million to arts organizations, including $45 million to the Metropolitan Opera, $14 million to the Royal Opera House, and millions more to Carnegie Hall, the Kennedy Center, and the Salzburg Festival. In fact, some institutions adjusted programming and construction plans based on his promised gifts. The Royal Opera House renamed its floral hall the Villa Floral Hall after his pledge, only to quietly remove his name when the funds never materialized. The Salzburg Festival listed him as a major benefactor in brochures before realizing his checks would not arrive. These organizations often failed to perform due diligence, relying instead on Vilar's elite social status and public image. But cracks in the facade began to show after the dot-com bubble burst in 2000. Amerindo's tech-heavy portfolio suffered massive losses, and Vilar's ability to deliver on his promises waned. Organizations began to notice that his pledged donations were delayed or never arrived at all. One of the most striking personal relationships affected by Vilar's actions was with soprano Deborah Voigt, one of the opera world's biggest stars. In 2001, Vilar publicly pledged to underwrite a major European tour for Voigt, telling her he believed in her artistry and wanted to elevate her to international superstardom. Voigt, overwhelmed by the gesture, spoke often of Vilar as a rare patron who truly cared about the artist, not just the institution. But behind the scenes, Vilar's finances were collapsing. As his promises fell through, Voigt found herself caught between international expectations and a disappearing patron. She later told colleagues she had to cancel or renegotiate parts of the tour, a humiliating and professionally damaging ordeal. "He lifted me up," Voigt later reflected, and then vanished like a ghost. Vilar's need to maintain the illusion of wealth led him down increasingly unethical paths. Behind closed doors, he and Tanaka were using client funds to cover shortfalls. Documents later unsealed in court showed that Amerindo commingled client money with its operating accounts. They sent investors cheerful newsletters despite hemorrhaging cash. In one telling example, a client's funds were routed through multiple offshore accounts in Panama and Switzerland before being funneled back to the United States, a classic obfuscation tactic. In 2005, the curtain finally dropped. Federal authorities arrested Alberto Vilar at his Manhattan home on May 26th, charging him and Gary Tanaka with defrauding clients of at least $20 million. One of the key victims was Lily Cates, the mother of actress Phoebe Cates, who had entrusted Vilar with $5 million meant for conservative income-generating investments. Instead, the funds were diverted into Amerindo accounts and used to cover Vilar's philanthropic pledges and personal expenses. A forged letter Vilar sent to Cates stated her money was safely invested in U.S. treasuries. In reality, it had already been spent. Prosecutors pointed to the letter as clear evidence of intent to deceive, not simply mismanagement. The scale of deception was staggering. The trial revealed a stunning pattern. Vilar had used client funds to maintain his lifestyle and fulfill his public image as a generous arts benefactor. Prosecutors described him as a man more concerned with maintaining status in elite circles than honoring his fiduciary duty. Vilar's defense team argued that he intended to repay investors and that his donations reflected a genuine passion for the arts. But the jury wasn't moved. In November 2008, Vilar was found guilty on all 12 counts, including securities fraud, wire fraud, money laundering and mail fraud. He was sentenced in 2010 to 9 years in federal prison. During sentencing, Judge Richard Sullivan noted Mr. Vilar lived the life of a celebrity philanthropist, but he did so on other people's money. For Gary Tanaka, the consequences were also severe. Though he was convicted on fewer counts, he served time for his role in the scheme. Once honoured by institutions like Imperial College London, Tanaka saw his name quietly removed from donor rolls. The once high-flying Amerindo empire crumbled, and investors were left to pick up the pieces. Meanwhile, Vilar's prized opera memorabilia, including autographed librettos and custom-made capes, was auctioned off by authorities to repay victims. The proceeds covered only a fraction of what was owed. The arts world, too, reeled from the fallout. The Metropolitan Opera removed Vilar's name from its grand tier. Other institutions distanced themselves, quietly rewriting donor plaques and revising history books. But for artists like Deborah Voigt, the scars ran deeper. Voigt later told reporters that she never fully recovered the momentum lost during that critical period. In the opera world, opportunities can be fleeting, she said. When a patron pulls support, it can mean the difference between a breakthrough and a breakdown. After serving his sentence, Vilar was released in 2018. He lived his final years largely out of the spotlight, his once glorious reputation forever tarnished. In a rare post-release interview, he claimed, "I wasn't trying to steal, I was trying to give more than I had. Is that a crime?" The case reverberated through the philanthropic and regulatory worlds. The SEC and Department of Justice used it as a teaching case in fraud prevention seminars, and non-profit boards began implementing stricter vetting processes for high-value donors. Institutions adopted new transparency rules requiring irrevocable proof of funds before granting naming rights or building dedications. Beyond finance and law, Vilar's case became a cultural flashpoint, a symbol of how easily prestige and performance could be bought and manipulated. His downfall was chronicled in documentaries, financial ethics courses, and even discussed in opera programs as a cautionary tale. In 2021, the Juilliard School referenced the scandal during a symposium on donor ethics, citing Vilar's name as a case study in unchecked trust. The event emphasized that while patrons are essential to the arts, their power must be balanced by accountability. Alberto Vilar's story is a tragic aria of ambition, deception, and collapse. He soared on the wings of generosity, but it was all an illusion built on stolen trust. His tale serves as a reminder that even the grandest gifts come with strings attached. We are a growing channel and appreciate your support. Remember to like, comment, subscribe, and share this video so we can keep making more content and continue to improve our quality. We at the Capital Curiosity team thank you for your support and can't wait to bring you even better content in the future.